The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. People are panicking and they are showing to the world that they can never do without a group of people. There's some particular group of people that the whole world is just on them. And there are people who are also claiming to be the everything of this world, and for that matter, they should hold them under control. And whenever they see other people trying to go closer to these people, it becomes a problem to them. So today, before they used to do this thing in secrecy, but now they've seen that there's nothing that you can hide in this generation. Because before you think, we have thought. So for that matter, now they are deciding to do things in broad daylight. And the United States of America is saying that they need to do everything possible to stop the growing of China, because they are seeing China to be a competitor that they do not want. And China is competing with them where? In Africa. Some of you, when sometimes we even open your eyes, we now come and say that they didn't talk about Africa. Where else is the United States of America bent on keeping control, if not Africa? And some of you are not following the trend. So when we listen to them and we are able to bring out their coded things, you now come and be saying they never said this, they said this, they never said that. As African, you are waiting for them to tell you that this is what we are thinking about you before you know. China is having influence in Africa now, is growing, because looking at what we are receiving from China, like the infrastructure and everything, is different from the United States of America. And one time we saw that even in the US Congress, a woman was saying that she is studying the youth of Africa on social media. And now we are yearning for China, we are yearning for Russia. And for that matter, they need to change their approach, because China is doing things in Africa that they are not doing. And they need to make sure they stop China. And how are they stopping China? It's by trying to create things like they are doing in Nigeria, so that you still believe in them. When there was not even a single ISIS that they have shown us that after their strikes, they have been able to capture or destroyed, or even an alive one, but they came out saying Merry Christmas to even the dead ones.
The United States must make sure that we do not have a peer competitor for our security. Think about what this means. This is a brutalist philosophy. The proposition is that even if China were to change in some of the ways that proponents of engagement have said that we hope it changes, even if they just, as a thought experiment, adapted our Constitution and our laws wholesale, we should still try to limit their growth merely because we shouldn't have a peer competitor. That is the proposition, regardless of beliefs, regardless of people striving for human flourishing along the lines that we have been prescribing to the world for decades. If they actually appear to be succeeding, regardless of their beliefs, we must stop them, even if it means pushing them back toward poverty.
I don't mean this question cynically or so. How do we get the American automakers to, rather than just sitting behind the barriers that the tariffs put up and continuing in a basically complacent way as they have been for the last couple decades, how do we get them to take on this challenge and start innovating and start meeting the competition that will come both from China and from companies in Europe and Japan who are exposing themselves to Chinese competition, right? One of the advantages, I think everyone in this room will understand immediately, one of the advantages of competition is that it spurs you to meet the challenge and improve yourself. If American companies are not being spurred in that way, what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to develop the kind of technology and the kind of marketing that will allow them to compete? I worry very much about that. I think actually the best solution would be to bring Chinese companies and produce in the United States, and then we should steal their IP. I am completely in favor of that. That's how China developed. I think that's actually the only way that capitalism diffuses technology, which means it's the best way to improve the wealth creating capacity of the economy. If you bottle up technological IP in one country or one firm, that impoverishes the rest of the economy. That impoverishes other firms. So turnaround is fair play. We should invite the Chinese in, just as they invited American companies in. We should learn. American companies should hire the people who work there and learn the intellectual property and the know-how that comes with working at the cutting edge of the sector, and then use that to make American companies competitive. So it's that other side the pro-competition, pro-innovation side of the strategy that's missing right now. And I'm not seeing it on offer, and it's precisely not on offer because we feel that touching the Chinese is poison. But if we want to advance ourselves, and if we want to avoid conflict, we have to maintain that connection with China and figure out a way to make it sustainable.
By far, our biggest threat and most challenging is China. China is the first nation we've ever competed with that has both a great economy and a great military. China is incredibly determined. They feel a great sense of urgency, and they're fully dedicated to becoming the strongest nation in the world and having dominance over the United States. This is coming at a time where the United States has significant shortages in both our national security, many areas from weaknesses to shortages to problems. Our workforce is challenged, fabrication and batteries to major areas of our industry we're relying on China for. So a lot of big challenges that we have to face.
The U.S. campaign to bring down China and to stop China's rise is not going to decrease in the next 10 years. It's going to increase. So even though they had a very nice, friendly meeting, the fundamental goal of the United States to stop China from becoming number one is not going to diminish in any way. And as you saw this, of course, with the CHIPS Act that has just come, but there'll be more and more measures that the United States will take to try and slow down China's economic growth. So that will also continue. That's what I mean by saying nothing has changed.
The only people that are not rising is Africans, because Africans, we are still sleeping expecting that these people will be the ones to tell us that this is what we are doing, this is what we are planning, this is what we want to do. Even when some of them are bold enough to open up to you, the African is still doing everything possible to defend them. I don't know why we can defend these people. No, I understand now, because one time Joshua Mamponga said, we love and protect and defend and believe everything of them because they presented their God in their image. So you think that when you want to do something to them, you are rather harming their God. So for that matter, the African will always be obedient to these people. China is growing in Africa. And we are seeing that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are moving to the direction of China and Russia. So they are looking for means and ways to do away with this kind of influence in Africa, because over centuries they have been in Africa making sure that they control you, the African. Even though we believe on paper we have been given independence, everything shows that the African is never independent. We are still under slavery, colonization to the highest point. And this is what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah called neo-colonialism, the new form of colonization, which he also described is the dangerous one, because you, the Africans, you are enslaved, but you don't even know that you are still under slavery. You believe that you have your freedom. And they are saying that they will make sure they fight with China. Even if they are to keep China poor, they will do it. With the might of China, the United States of America can no longer stand China. So how will they make sure they cripple China? By putting pressure on these our leaders in the democratic elected to move away from China, because they will continue to threaten them with sanctions, with cutting of aid, banning the African, will not give you visa to come to our country, and what? And you, the youth, will now rise against your leaders, and we will now believe whatever narrative they'll put before you and I because of visa, and we will now support our leaders to accept everything from them. So you will move away from development, from progress, into becoming a modern slave. Like what happened in Nigeria, that a lot of you are so excited. You are seeing people and you believe that these ones are scholars, these ones are this. Like Dr. Rikana said, the most dangerous black person is the educated one. Because these ones will always read the oppressor's things and explain to you based on that. And they'll continue to quote the oppressor. One time, Professor Nawal said, the education is to make you lose your thinking. Because they make you quote other people and bring out what you have. So whenever you are arguing with people, instead of you to use your in-depth knowledge to analyze issues, you go and be quoting what they have said. And these things that they have said is to benefit them and not you. So that is the essence of the kind of education they gave to you and I, so we can lose our ability. So you should understand as an African that everything they are doing is tactics, because they know very well that you, the youth of Africa, believe less in your countries. You believe less in the continent, and the only hope you have is to travel to them. So they need to put these things in place so that whenever they are ready to strike, to move you away from China and Russia, they will now use this kind of things. If you want us to allow you to continue to be coming into our country, then you need to do ABC, move away from China, then we give you visa. As if you don't move out of Africa, you can never survive. We have been surviving for all this while. So what shows that if you continue to survive here, you wouldn't survive? There are people who are here that are making it big time. And ask our brothers and sisters who are there, the kind of pain they are going through, if only they'll be sincere to tell us what it is over there. Like some of them are sincere. You are only going to be a modern slave. And this one, you are begging and sacrificing everything to go and become the modern kind of slave. Unlike our forefathers who were fighting against oppression. So as they are busy fighting to make sure they keep you under control, you, the African, must also wake up and be ready to fight for your sovereignty. Because the whole world, everybody is fighting for power. You, the African, need to fight for the same thing. Look at the military parade of China. Even the United States of America came out and said it was a plot against the United States of America. Looking at what they have. And these are the things that you, the African, you need to be fighting for. Some of you will sit there and tell us that you are peaceful people. You'll be sitting here eating peace. When you are lazy, you are saying you are looking for peace. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. That's the latest around the world and in the United States of America.